Why don't credit cards ever get lost? Because they like to stay at home and charge. Now, isn't that a hearty chuckle to kick things off? But it's not all laughs, folks. Living with credit card debt is no joke, and it's a problem that many of us face. The good news is there are solutions out there like consolidation loans that can help us navigate this financial maze. But let's not allow our credit cards to have all the fun, shall we? Once upon a time, in the land of soaring interest rates, lived a man named Bob. Bob was just your everyday guy, living paycheck to paycheck, with a penchant for swiping his credit cards a bit too often. He was juggling not one, not two, but 5 different credit cards, each with their own payment schedules and staggering interest rates. Every month, Bob would find himself playing a hectic game of financial Tetris, trying to fit all these payments into his budget. The mounting pressure of his debts was like a ticking time bomb, ready to explode any moment. Bob's sleep was often interrupted by nightmares of credit card bills raining down on him. His days were filled with anxiety, his mind constantly occupied by the increasing figures in his monthly statements. He was stuck in a seemingly endless cycle of debt. The high interest rates were like quicksand, pulling him deeper into the debt pit with every passing day. The stress was overwhelming, and Bob felt like he was drowning in a sea of debt, with no lifeboat in sight. But then, just when things seemed their darkest, a glimmer of hope appeared. Bob stumbled upon a concept that was as simple as it was powerful: the consolidation of credit card debt. This was the magic wand that could potentially wave away his financial troubles. Bob, with his newfound wisdom, decided to consolidate his debts. Our friend Bob had gotten himself into a bit of a pickle with multiple credit card debts. He was juggling several payments each month, all with different interest rates. It was like trying to keep a dozen plates spinning on sticks. So what did Bob do? He opted for a debt consolidation loan. Bob knew that a debt consolidation loan is essentially a larger loan that you take out to pay off multiple smaller debts. It's like taking a bunch of small, noisy puppies and putting them all in one big kennel. It's easier to manage, and it gives you a bit of peace and quiet. So Bob got his loan and used it to pay off all his credit card debts. Suddenly he wasn't dealing with a dozen different payments each month. He had just one, uno singular. And the best part? This loan had a lower interest rate than his credit card. So not only was Bob dealing with less hassle, but he was also saving money. It was like he'd swapped a full-on chaotic circus for a calm, peaceful tea party. And the benefits didn't stop there. This streamlined approach to managing his debt helped Bob keep track of his payments more easily. He knew exactly how much he needed to pay each month and when it was due. No more juggling, no more spinning plates. Just a straightforward plan that he could stick to. But it wasn't just about making life easier. By consolidating his debts, Bob was able to reduce the amount of interest he was paying. Less interest meant less money out of his pocket and more money for him to save or spend on things he enjoyed. It was like he'd found a magic money-saving button. And just like that, Bob began to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So what's this magic wand that Bob waved? Let's delve deeper. Debt consolidation, folks, is like a superhero in the world of finance. But instead of a cape, it wears an interest rate. And instead of superhuman strength, it has the power to simplify your payments. It's a process where you combine or consolidate your multiple credit card debts into a single loan. Imagine having a bunch of noisy, squabbling kids at a party. Now imagine if you could combine them into one well-behaved, easier-to-handle child. That's debt consolidation. But how does it work? Well, it's a bit like making a smoothie. You take all your credit card debts, throw them in a blender, and out comes a single loan. It's a lot easier to focus on the flavor of one smoothie than trying to juggle multiple dishes, right? But instead of blending fruits, you're blending debts, and instead of a tastier drink, you get a potentially lower interest rate. That's because this new loan typically has a lower interest rate than your combined credit card debts, which can save you money in the long run. Now, lower interest rates and simpler payments sound great, right? But wait, there's more. Consolidating your debt can also help improve your credit score over time. When you pay off your credit cards and keep your new loan in good standing, it's like telling the credit score gods, hey, look at me, I'm responsible. They love that stuff. But remember, debt consolidation isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. It's like buying shoes. Sure, those shiny new sneakers might look great on your friend, But if they don't fit you, you're going to end up with some serious blisters. Similarly, depending on your financial situation, debt consolidation might not be the best fit for you. It can potentially extend the length of your repayment period, which could mean you'll pay more in interest over time. It's also not a magic cure for bad spending habits. If you keep swiping those credit cards after consolidation, you'll be back to square one in no time. So, is debt consolidation right for you? Well, that's like asking if pineapple belongs on pizza. Some people swear by it, others would rather go into debt than try it. You'll have to weigh the pros and cons, understand your financial situation, and perhaps seek advice from a financial advisor. Remember, consolidation isn't a magic trick, it's a tool. And like any tool, knowing how to use it makes all the difference. Now that you know Bob's secret weapon, it's your turn to conquer your debt. You see, debt isn't a monster under your bed, or a giant wave ready to sweep you off your feet. It's more like a puzzle, a maze that you've got to navigate. But with the right tools and a little bit of strategic thinking, you can find your way out. So, where do you start? Well, the first step is to lay it all out. Gather all your credit card statements, write down how much you owe on each card, what the interest rates are, and what the minimum payments look like. It might feel a bit like ripping off a Band-Aid, but trust me, knowledge is power here. Next, it's time to do some research. Look for consolidation loans that offer lower interest rates than what you're currently paying. Remember, the goal here is to save money on interest so you can pay off your debt faster. But don't just jump at the first offer you see. Take your time, compare different options, and make sure to read the fine print. Once you've found a consolidation loan that fits your needs, it's time to apply. This might involve a credit check, so be prepared, and don't be disheartened if your application is rejected. There are plenty of fish in the sea, or in this case, loans in the market. After you've secured your consolidation loan, use it to pay off your credit card debts. Then focus on making regular payments towards your loan. It's essential to stay disciplined here. Remember, the goal is to get rid of your debt, not to create more. And finally, while you're working towards becoming debt-free, it's important to avoid racking up more credit card debt. This might mean adjusting your spending habits or setting up a budget. It's not always easy, but it's definitely worth it. So there you have it, your roadmap to conquering debt. Remember, it's not about getting rid of the cards, it's about taking charge of the charges.